So Chris Sadeghi has been holding down the fort in Denton County all week during this winter storm event.
Yeah, Chris, I know you have seen quite a bit over the past couple of days. How do things look so far this morning?
Well, Mark, it is slightly raining this morning, which could be a good thing. I'll tell you, yesterday, after we got off the air, we started to get some rain. We thought that might make things worse, but it actually made driving better because it turned the ice that was on the road into slush. The way it was explained to me, the rain that was falling was warm enough to turn the ice into slush. Now, coming out this morning in the parking lot, though, different story, because that slush had refrozen overnight. So now you have a situation where it's a much more spotty covering of ice. Walking out into the parking lot this morning, ice was fine in some areas, totally wet but dry, didn't have to worry about slipping, and then the next thing you know, you're having to inch by with that penguin walk, as they say. So the situation's still very dangerous. It seems like there could be some light at the end of the tunnel. You can see the snow plows are out. I've been keeping an eye on I-35 because we can see it from where we're standing. Cars are zooming right along on the interstate, so it doesn't look like there's much of an issue up there. But remember, this spotty ice that I just explained, you might be perfectly fine 1 second, slipping and sliding the next. So the way things happen overnight, you got to really pay attention where you're stepping, where you're driving. But it does seem like we're getting towards the end of it, especially if this rain falling now has that same effect of turning the ice into slush. That's what we're going to be monitoring this morning in Denton County. Now let's send it out to Collin County, where Tiffany Liu is out there. Tiffany, is it raining where you're at?
You know, it is sprinkling where I'm at right now, and it's very similar to you. This is a far cry from the last few days that we've seen, but look, it is still a little bit nasty out. You know, there's still some slush on the ground, but overall the ice here has pretty much melted. I drove yesterday from Dallas back to McKinney, and the roads were rather clear. Even the hotel parking lot that I was staying at overnight, that was clear as well. So now that we're taking a big sigh of relief, I definitely want to give a shout out to those essential workers, those first responders who really had to work hard those last few days around the clock for us. Here in McKinney, med units had extra firefighter paramedic staffed. Dispatchers in Plano, they spent nights at work away from their families, and essential workers in Frisco as well. They stayed at nearby hotels to make sure they could be there to answer the call as we were telling people to stay home. Obviously, there were so many who needed to go to work, and they were able to help us out in those situations. Not only for those first responders, but also places like Walgreens as well. This pharmacy was open when it was frozen over, and almost everybody else was closed. And also, I'm standing in the parking lot right now of this 7-Eleven. I just have to give a shout out to Mark inside, because he has been so gracious to us, letting us stand under this awning during the rain this morning. Told me he had a fresh pot of coffee inside. It's these essential workers who really make this whole week better after standing in the cold for so long. But you guys, no hat, no gloves this morning. I'm feeling pretty good. Let's send it over to Sean Giggy in Dallas.
Yeah, I am on Haskell near 75 on the north side of Dallas. And do you ever have deja vu? For the third straight day, it seems like we're telling you to try to avoid those roads. And this is why. You may be tempted today because it may seem slushy, but there is still some ice. Obviously, I'm on the sidewalk now, so this is especially important for pedestrians. But there are still patches of this on the road here and there. The roads are much better than the past 2 days, but ice is still something to deal with. I want you to come with me because I want to show you something, okay? We're going to step down here. Watch that first step. It's a doozy. If you come across the road here, take a look at this. This giant branch fell. This, when we arrived here, we were driving around looking for roads that were having issues. We saw this in the middle of the road right here this morning. But of course, like the great good Samaritans that we are, photographer Justin Fuller and I moved this giant branch out of the road. Unfortunately, right before we moved this branch, a truck plowed right through it, and so we tried to get it away as quick as we could so that no more cars hit it. I want to show you real quick. This is some video that Justin Fuller shot before we moved the branch of it in the middle of the road, and there were some cars that were having to slam on their brakes, and they were slipping and sliding to try and avoid this, and that's when we made the decision to put the camera away, get this out of the road so that people passing by here would be safe. But this is the kind of stuff you're going to be dealing with this morning. Hopefully, as the ice melts, that problem goes away, but there is potential that more branches could be falling, power lines could be damaged, things like that. So Not out of the woods yet, but it is warming up and it is getting better. And one place that it's really warm, kudos to you, Marcus Took. You have had the warmth the past 3 days, so I'm going to send the warmness back to you, just as you've had it the past few days.
Thanks so much, Giggy. I appreciate that. But I'm an empathetic person, so I am experiencing coldness to empathize with you and the rest of our crews out there, out and about. Although it is, like 75 in here. Hey, listen, if you plan.